Available now on Blu-ray from Arrow Home Video is Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. This is a late 80s, early 90s take on the Phantom of the Opera mythos set in an American shopping mall in the 80s. I remember when this came out, I remember seeing the TV ads for this and thinking, that's silly. And then I didn't play anywhere near me. I lived in a small town, so unless it was a major Hollywood production at this point in the late 80s, we weren't going to get it. And I rented it on tape. I almost can remember where I rented it from. I think it might have been a convenience store, video retailer, video rental shop. Back in the 80s, let me tell you about the 80s. Back in the 80s when home video took off, you had video stores. The chains came later, but you had the independent video stores. But you had like any video store, it was such a lucrative thing, and people were so crazy for renting tapes that just about any retail establishment would have a place to rent tapes. I remember a place that was a convenience store had tapes, the grocery stores had tapes. There was a place that sold TVs and stereos. They actually rented high 8 tapes, which is bizarre. Anyway, I rented this movie, Phantom of the Mall, from my convenience store rental outlet. And at the time, I didn't think it was very good. I just thought it was kind of lame. Then Arrow announces it, and I'm like, really? Phantom of the Mall? Okay, it's been decades since I've watched this. Let's give it another shot. And a lot of times I'll watch things with older eyes, and often, like with Arrow, in a better transfer, and it'll change my opinion of it. Unfortunately, not the case for Phantom of the Mall. Didn't really care for this one. Again, so basic storyline here. I won't get too far into it, but if you know Phantom of the Opera, you pretty much know the storyline here. The town, a mall developer wants to build a mall, buys up a bunch of houses. One family just won't sell. That's Eric's family. And they basically wind up burning the house down, and Eric is inside it. So it is believed that Eric has burned to death. His girlfriend is shattered, and that's that. The film, that's told to you over time in flashback. The film takes place in the present day. The mall has just opened, new tenants are being added, and someone is killing people in the mall. Basically, someone is killing people who's disrespectful to women in the mall, which is kind of cool. Somebody is lurking around in the security area, instead of the catacombs, it's the air ducts, and somebody's killing people in creative and amusing ways in the mall. And Pauly Shore, did I mention Pauly Shore's in this movie? For better or worse, Pauly Shore's in this movie. May have been his first film role, actually. He's not full-on Weasel in this film, but he's clearly Pauly Shore. He plays a guy who is a friend of our lead actress, who's Eric's, the titular Phantom's ex-girlfriend. Because she thinks he's dead, not because of anything that happened between the two of them, other than the whole burning alive thing. And Pauly Shore, excuse me, I get choked up when I talk about Pauly Shore and his cinematic legacy. Pauly Shore is her friend. So there's not a lot to this beyond someone is killing people. Who is it? Eric is burned and mad and angry, and who will survive and what will be left of them. If you're a fan of the 80s or the early 90s, if you find the 80s or early 90s a fascinating era or one that is laughable, this is the movie for you. I lived through it, so I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia. Maybe I have nostalgia for like the really early 80s or aspects of the era or things I liked in that time. But overall, the look and everything, as it got to the later 80s, the way things were shot and the colors and the fashion and the hair, makes me a little queasy. And funny enough, I watched this and I'm like, this looks like an episode of Silk Stockings. And then what else has this director done? Well, he did episodes of Silk Stockings, including Rob Estes, who is one of the leads in this film, went on to be on that show and work with this director again. So that's kind of cool. So if you're a fan of Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, wowzers, you have got the package of a lifetime. You have got your Christmas in this disc, because there are 3 edits of this film. There are 3 versions of Phantom of the Mall on this Arrow set. First of all, the film looks great too. It looks as good as it ever could look. And you get the original version, you get an extended version, you get a TV version, or you get the original and a TV version and an amalgam of the two. You get multiple edits of Phantom of the Mall. I know you get the movie that I saw on tape and people saw in theaters. You get an alternate one, and then you get one that puts it all together, that gives you every possible scrap of Phantom of the Mall footage in one version of the movie. Arrow has done that a few times with their releases. You get copious extras. You get interviews with all kinds of people who are related with this movie, behind the scenes stuff, trailers, stills. This is a loaded set. This is a 2-disc set for Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm sure this is going to make some people very happy. As I said, I watched it. I didn't care for it. I thought it was just a little too silly and a little too cheesy. In the right setting with the right people, you may love this. So I'm here more to tell you what this is than whether I liked it or not. It is an astounding set for this movie that I never thought I would necessarily see this again anywhere. Certainly by choice, but partly that nobody would release it, let alone in a version like this. So available now on Blu-ray, deluxe Blu-ray from Arrow Home Video is Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge.